I'm going to ask a question. Don't expect an answer because nobody really ever answers any of my questions in these stupid things anyways. I read the story today about the 4 or 5 Guantanamo detainees that have openly admitted to planning and setting into motion the September 11th attacks on the World Trade Center. And in the statement that they released, it essentially, from the way it's told, they were bragging about the fact that it was so successful. They're very proud of how successful it was and how it was a gift from them to God. The confusion I get is that's no surprise to me. I mean, the fact that it's a surprise to anyone is more of a surprise to me than these particular detainees saying that. I mean, especially considering they honestly believe their religion and their God is telling them, or maybe not so much literally telling them, but dictates that they are supposed to do these things. That their religion dictates that they're supposed to punish the infidels, which they consider non-Muslims to be. They're extremists. That's kind of the thing, you know, extremists do extreme things based on their religious beliefs. It's not a big surprise, but it seems like it's being portrayed as a horrible, awful, ruthless, evil thing, that these people are bragging about it. People, extremists of every religion do some freaky ass shit. Christians did it, Muslims do it. I mean, don't know enough about Jews to know if they do it. Buddhists follow Buddha. I mean, starts off being scrawny and skinny and keeping himself from eating, and then turns into you need to eat and enjoy everything about life. Fat Buddha, bald Buddha. Every extremist in every religion does some weird shit. I'm not excusing. I personally do not believe that it is right to cause harm or to hurt anyone who has at best a vague connection to the government or military that you think you're having a war with. And this is where my confusion comes in. I don't understand how I can understand the point of view of the terrorists, not agree with, of the even extreme groups like the Taliban and some of the insurgent groups, and why I can understand some of their motivation, some of the reasoning behind it. And I'm sure if I, you know, went and just researched it more, probably interviewed people or whatnot like that are involved in these particular situations, I would understand their motivation a lot more. Doesn't mean I would agree with their actions. It just means I would understand why. It's sort of like you have a weird brother or sister, for some strange reason, whenever they get into a car, they start picking their nose. I'm pretty sure you could probably find why they do that. It's the same thing. You can find out the reason for everything. You may not agree with the action, but you can understand and find out why it is this happens or why it is they do this. But nobody, it seems, in the United States is attempting in any way, shape, or form to do that. I mean, we also see how big of a failing that is. One of the biggest problems that we've seen in the Middle East throughout history is the lack of trying to find out, the lack of concern of understanding why or the motivations of many Middle Eastern people. The Great Britain, when it had much of the Middle East as its colonies, as under its protection, its control as colonies, they failed because they didn't understand, or even bother to understand. The Russians, huge war in, I think it's either Iran or Afghanistan, one of those two countries, they failed because they didn't bother to try and understand. And sadly enough, and a lot of people will get pissed about this, but the United States was failing in Iraq for the same reason. We refused to, or just didn't have the ability to understand or even try to figure it out, the whys and the motivations. And actually, we currently are being so successful, not because of military might, but from all reports, it's backroom deals, discovering the motivation and giving them other motivation, making connections that we didn't make before, non-military things. And yes, there are some black ops stuff that go on too, but it's more based on intelligence and understanding and discovering the answers and motivations to things than it was military might. Military might got us nowhere. Military might got Great Britain nowhere. Military might got Russia nowhere. I mean, it has gotten no one when it comes to the Middle East anywhere. But for some strange reason, in the United States, all we can think of, or whenever it comes to terrorists or anybody associated with terrorism or anybody associated with September 11th and those attacks and whatnot like that, what we should do is we should do anything that we can to get them to confess to having something to do with any of those things, just to keep us safe, and not allot them any of the legal rights that we have. That we shouldn't in any way, shape, or form try to understand any of this to maybe find a way of not preventing something like this happening again. Instead, they're evil, they're awful, you know, these are disgusting, horrible, horrible, evil people that need to be just blown off the face of the planet. It's not going to work, and I just don't understand why so many people refuse to even attempt to understand. I mean, it's like if you try to understand a person's motivation that's done something so horrible as kill 3,000 people, it's like you're siding with them. It's like you're trying to excuse it. I mean, that's the way people treat me whenever I ask them. You know, they're not evil. They're just stupid, misguided, wrong. You know, if the act that they did, from our point of view, is evil, but they're not evil. They're doing what they think is right. But nobody will. Everyone is convinced that I've spoken to or asked about this, that I'm wrong. I mean, that in saying those things, I'm saying what they did was excusable. And I personally don't think that killing anyone is excusable. But in any case, it comes down to my question. Which, like I said, nobody ever really watches these damn things, and when they do, they don't actually answer my questions. My question is this. The 5 or 4 Guantanamo Bay detainees that have taken responsibility for the September 11th attacks of the World Trade Centers and bragged about it and said it was a gift to God. They did this believing that their religion, their God, it wants them to do it. That this is what they are supposed to do. This is what they're compelled to do based on their religion. And I'm not saying that they're right in their analysis of their religion. I mean, there's going to be a lot of perceptions of any one religion, but that's what they believe. They believe that they are compelled to, that they are required to, by their God, by their religion, to perform these acts, whether we find them horrible or not. I mean, they feel they have to do them, that this is part of their belief system. So, back to my question, the thing is, whatever religion you happen to be, if, theoretically, your God, whoever you happen to worship, showed up right in front of you, just showed up and told you, or rather asked you, to go and strap a bunch of C4 to your waist and blow up everybody who's visiting the Lincoln Memorial Monument. And in asking why, your God told you because there are people there that are evil and they need to be destroyed. So I need you to go and destroy these people. And if you don't do this, then these evil people will continue to do some terrible, horrible things that will cause the death of children and women and innocent people that you care about. Would you go and do it? And then if you did that, would you be evil for doing it? Because, and I hate to say this, but a lot of these extremists, Muslim extremists that are performing these terroristic acts, believe their religion and God is compelling them to do this, is asking them or demanding that they do these things. That this act that your God asked you or demanded, or whatever your religious beliefs happen to be, for you to do, how would that make you any different than the terrorists? I mean, now we're saying, literally, your God is asking or demanding that you do this, and that if you don't, these evil people are going to cause harm to people that you care about. How, if you did it, would it be different than them doing it, when they are essentially doing it for exactly the same reason I just said. Okay, but that's my question, so answer it, whatever.